Revenge films.
I met my girlfriend Jill, who was 5 years older than me, through a basketball club. We dated for about a year and I turned 30, so we started talking about marriage. She was a big basketball star because she was good at the sport and very beautiful. So I wanted to have a nice wedding with her. One day, when we were discussing our wedding, she had a cloudy look on her face. When I asked her why, she told me that she had problems at home and she could only afford to pay $10,000. Being a basketball player and all, I didn't drink or smoke, so I had more money saved up than most people my age. So I assured her that I would cover whatever I could afford. She lightened up after that, and we had a good time looking at different venues and such. We were able to decide on a nice place that day. Or so I thought. The next day, her parents called. Jack, you two can't just decide everything about the wedding on your own. A wedding isn't all about you two. It's for both families as well. Don't be selfish. Her father seemed quite upset. I'm sorry, I didn't know you felt that way. I'll be sure to consult you both from now on. I apologized to them and spoke with my parents as well.
Well, it's your wedding. Do as you both wish. Don't worry about us.
My parents didn't care to be involved in the planning, so from then on, we proceeded to plan with Jill's parents. But this is where all the trouble started. Her parents were very picky. They insisted on very nice hotels and very expensive meals. They specifically requested a Japanese full-course meal because they were going to be elderly people attending. Other requirements included things such as how we had to invite a minimum of 150 guests each and prepare high-brand gifts as souvenirs for our guests. Their requests were so specific, and the cost was adding up to be much more than I had anticipated. I'm sorry to say this, but if we could include all of that, the wedding will end up costing us over $100,000. I can't afford that, sir. So you lied to our daughter when you said that you would pay for everything then? No, it wasn't a lie, and I still intend to pay for all costs within my savings. However, I don't have $100,000 saved, and I don't think it's smart to go into debt for this wedding. What's the problem with borrowing a little money? Just pay it off afterwards. I was starting to get pretty annoyed with their uncompromising attitude, but I swallowed my words. I understand, sir. After hearing my response, Jill's parents just smirked at me. I heard later that her father owned a small business, but it wasn't doing that well at that point, and his clients who found out started pulling out, and his employees were quitting because they were afraid of not being paid in the future. So his business was on a downward spiral right when we were planning the wedding. Of course he couldn't afford to pitch in, but when he heard that I would be paying, he got the idea to use the wedding to his advantage. He planned to invite his clients and employees and show them a good time in order to recover the reputation of his company. Later, when we were going over the various ideas that our wedding planner prepared for us, Jill's father barged in as expected with a big smile on his face, with a plan of his own. If you don't accept my requests, I won't let you marry my daughter. I took a look at the plan that he had prepared and I was shocked. There were so many more things included than what was originally proposed, and the sum total was so ridiculous I had to look twice and count the zeros. No, this is way too much. Well, we don't need to let you marry Jill. I mean, it's quite concerning to leave my daughter in the hands of some little girl who just says no to everything. The power to convince me is in your hands, young man. There was no way I could conjure up this amount of money. Jill had her own requests too.
I want the engagement ring to be at least $10,000 and the wedding ring to be about $5,000 for both of us.
That was pretty expensive too, if you ask me. And honestly, I was starting to have doubts about this marriage. On a side note, Jill always just nodded in agreement to her parents and never took my side. I was troubled enough already when her father gave me the usual speech. Well, if you're not up to it, maybe we should just call off this marriage. He's right. Yeah, you have a point, sir. We're having so many disagreements and we're not even married yet. Maybe this wasn't meant to work out. With such different views on money, I can already see myself having a hard time in the future. I grabbed my parents, who were even more furious than I was, and left. Jill didn't make too many requests herself, But she never argued against her parents either, which I took as a sign of agreement. My love for her had completely cooled down, and the thought of having in-laws like that was chilling. So I told them all exactly how I felt. "You're a man of such small caliber, you know that?"
There's no way you can ever be happy with a man like this, Jill.
"Exactly! I'm glad you guys aren't getting married!" Neither of her parents seemed sorry at all. Jill just cried.
Can't we just start over?
"No, I'm sorry, Jill. I've had enough." I rejected her coldly and cut ties with them. About a month later, I suddenly received a text message from Jill. I took a look.
Hey, my dad says that he can compromise on some of the accommodations for the wedding. Can we please try discussing it again? If it's too much for you to pay, he says that he can pay half if we can keep the cost under $40,000. What do you say?
At the end, it said,
Please, Jack, don't leave me.
I could feel the chills running down my back. Of course, I just ignored the text. But the next day, Jill's father contacted me at my work because he knew that I wouldn't pick up if he called my personal cell phone. "You guys can have the wedding however you want, so please, give Jill another chance." "No matter what you say, I don't plan on being with your daughter anymore, let alone marry her. Please stop calling me at my work or in private." "Please don't say that. Listen to me. My daughter still can't get over you, and she cries every day. She quit her job and even quit basketball, which she loved so much. She won't leave the house anymore and is going mad." "That's not my problem anymore, sir. Don't forget, it's you and your wife that ruined the wedding. You guys are responsible for what is happening to her." I hung up the phone and haven't heard from them since. There was just one time when I was walking around town with my girlfriend after that. Jill approached us.
You can't have Jack. He's mine.
She tried to attack my girlfriend, so I called the police and had her arrested. She looked nothing like the beautiful girl I had met anymore. She was thin, with graying hair and shabby clothes. I'm not exactly sure what happened to her after that, but from what I heard from my basketball team is that she became suicidal and started hurting herself and was institutionalized. The mental hospital expects her to be there for a long time. After a while, Jill's father's business finally went bankrupt.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.